When Evil Waits by M.J. Lee. Read by Dan Bottomley. Thursday, July 23rd. Chapter 1. They had first met in the early days of lockdown, walking their dogs in Chorltonese to get out of the stifling atmosphere in their homes, finding a few moments' rest in the peace and quiet of the trees and meadows bordering the Mersey. It was their dogs who encountered each other first, with her male Jack Russell being more than a match for his rather docile Labrador. She had apologised profusely in a very English way for the behaviour of her dog, and he had accepted in an equally English manner, all diffidence and explaining it was actually his dog's fault. It wasn't long before they were timing their visits to meet each other and chat each morning, without their respective spouses' knowledge, of course, and not long after that, they were discovering the quiet pathways of the Ease, holding hands like a couple, while their dogs explored the surrounding forest. It was on one of these walks that they found the body of a child. Or rather, the Labrador discovered it, followed by the Jack Russell, the frenzied barking of the latter forcing the couple to leave the comfort of each other's arms and discover why their dogs were so excited. The woman, Shirley Burgess, led the way. "What's the matter? Why such a racket?" she shouted as she brushed aside a branch blocking her way. "Oh, my God!" Her hand went to her mouth, and she stood there, transfixed. The naked boy, he wasn't more than 7 years old, was lying on the ground with his arms stretched out at either side, his sightless eyes open and staring up at the sky, a kiss curl of blonde hair like a comma across his forehead. Around his neck, a snake of rope dug deep into the skin. By his side, his clothes were folded neatly, as if coming straight from a laundry, the bright red of a United shirt lying on top. "Where are you, Shirl?" Her lockdown lover, John Morgan, was pushing aside the same branch. "Jesus Christ!" "Is it alive?" she asked, still not moving. He took 2 steps and then leant forward, peering down. "I think he's dead." The Labrador was wagging his tail and sniffing the lifeless head. "Come away, Major." The dog obeyed, returning to his master to be put back on the lead. The woman called her dog too, and, for once, he responded. "What are we going to do?" The man checked over his shoulder. "I think I should call the police." "I can't be found here with you. My husband, he—" "Of course. You take your dog back and I'll ring them. We can't leave him lying here." He stared down at the boy. "You sure?" she asked. He nodded his head. "You go home. I'll wait here for the police." She turned and pushed her way through the undergrowth, dragging the reluctant dog behind her, moving as fast as she could to escape. She didn't look back. John Morgan waited until he could no longer hear her before he took out his mobile and rang 999. "Emergency services, how can I help you?" I think I've found a dead body. It's a young boy and he's naked. You have to get here quickly." "Where are you, sir?" "Chorltonese, not far from the school." "And are you alone?" The man looked over his shoulder. "Yes." "The police are on their way. Their ETA is 7 minutes. "Should I go back to the main road?" "Are you sure the boy is dead?" John Morgan looked down at the pale, almost white skin. There was something missing from it. That spark of life, that animation that everybody had. This boy looked more like a mannequin in a store than a human being. "He's dead," he finally answered. "Please don't touch anything, sir." "I won't." In the distance, he could hear the faint whine of a police siren. Closer at hand, there was the screech of a hawk or an owl hunting for prey in the forest. Beside him, Major was gnawing at one of the Jack Russell's toys, trying to get at the bell inside. There was no sound from the boy. Chapter 2. Detective Chief Inspector Paul Turnbull arrived at the scene of the crime less than 30 minutes after the first call had been made by John Morgan. The local coppers had done a good job, The first tapes were already going up and 2 plods had been posted on the lane leading to Chorlton Ease. He quickly found the sergeant in charge, showing him his warrant card. "Right, I'm taking charge. Has the medical examiner been called?" "He's on his way, sir." "Who is it?" "A Dr. Schofield, sir." "Squeaky voice. Couldn't we get someone else?" They were both walking down the lane to the Ease. The I. Harry Makepeace, D.S. Emily Parkinson, and one of his new hires, D.C. Sam Arkwright, trailing in their wake. "He was the only one on duty, sir," the sergeant answered. "Right. Where's the body?" The sergeant pointed off to the left, towards a clump of trees. "Over there." "Nobody's touched it?" "No, sir." Turnbull did a 360-degree turn, taking in the surroundings. "Weird. You could almost be out in the country, rather than the middle of Manchester. Who discovered the body?" The sergeant checked his notes. "A dog, sir. Major, by name." "I'm not going to get much by interviewing a dog, am I, Sergeant?" said Turnbull, with heavy sarcasm and a roll of the eyes. "What's the name of his owner?" The sergeant checked his notes again. "It's Mr. Morgan. He's standing over there." He pointed off to the right towards a middle-aged man on his own, a docile Labrador on a lead chewing a toy at his feet. Turnbull grunted once. "Sam, get on to the doctor and the CSI team. Find out when they will arrive. Sergeant?" "It's Morrison. Sergeant Bob Morrison." "Sergeant, extend the perimeter out to the top of the lane and start signing new arrivals in. This is a crime scene and you need to implement all the usual protocols." "Yes, sir." "Harry, you're with me." He strode off towards the body. "What do you want me to do?" Turnbull turned back as if noticing Emily Parkinson for the first time. "Check out what's down there." He pointed airily down a path leading through the Ease to the river. Turnbull ploughed through, pushing aside the branches of the trees in his way, letting them fall back against Harry Makepeace. Within 6 yards, they could see the outline of a body, lying in a small glade behind the trees. They forced aside the last few branches and stepped into the edge of the glade. They could see the body more clearly now. It was naked with 2 arms stretched out at either side like Jesus on the cross. The eyes were open, staring sightlessly up to the sky, and a rope was still wound around the small boy's thin neck like a hemp collar. Walking closer, they saw a neatly folded pile of clothes, the bright red of a United shirt lying on top with its Red Devil badge standing out clearly. A horsefly landed on the white stomach for a moment, scratched its feelers and took 2 steps forward. Turnbull leant closer to the body and the fly took off, buzzing around heavily before being joined by another, both attracted to the dead body by the prospect of a possible feast. "How long do you think he's been dead?" asked Harry Makepeace. Turnbull was now standing over the body, staring down at its face with the carefully combed hair draped across the forehead. Before he could answer, a high-pitched voice shouted, "I'll thank you to move away!" Chapter 3. A man dressed in a white Tyvek suit with green edging stepped into the glade, followed by another person. "Please move away. You are contaminating the crime scene." Turnbull reached for his warrant card. "I am Detective Chief Inspector." "I don't care if you are Little Lord Fauntleroy. This is my crime scene until I have certified the victim is dead, and the crime scene manager, Audrey," the woman in the white suit raised her hand, "has cleared it. You are improperly dressed and should know better." I... Dr. Schofield moved out of the way to let the detectives leave using the path they had created through the trees. "Come on, Harry. We'll have a chat with the witness." "You can make yourself useful by making sure there is an inner cordon at least 50 yards away from here. I want to make sure we have no more contamination." Turnbull grunted and pushed his way back through the trees, finding the sergeant and ordering him to set up an inner cordon. The discoverer of the body, John Morgan, had moved and was now standing back on the path with his dog. He was frantically smoking, his eyes flickering left and right. "Mr. Morgan." The man looked up. "I'm DCI Turnbull. I believe you discovered the body." The man nodded once before saying, "Actually, the dog discovered it. I heard him scrambling through the trees and making a whining sound. He doesn't normally do that, so I left.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?